Let's talk about the PGA Tour. First round of the final tournament of the regular season is underway. And this is called the Tour Championships, East Lake in Georgia. Scottie Scheffler, has got 9 wins last year, 5 wins this year, has really dominated of late. Late in the first round, though, a guy who has scuffled all year, kind of lost his way. We thought he was going to be a star, a superstar a couple of years ago. Justin Thomas had the lead late in the first round with 7 under. The Scottish player, Robert McIntyre, who's played at the top of the leaderboards last group of tournaments, he's in second spot. He was 6 under with a couple of holes to go. Rory McIlroy, who has been in and out, hasn't been the same player since he won the Masters. He's at 3 under, along with Scheffler, who had a slow start. But what Scheffler's done is Scheffler's gotten the lay of the land in each of the last group of tournaments, and it's like he's thrown his own light switch on come Friday, come Saturday, come Sunday, and it just stormed to victory. So this is really going to be fun to see what happens at the Tour Championships. $10 million payday to the winner.
Hey.
This is the all-time finale for the guys on the PGA Tour. So that's one topic. Second topic, the PGA Tour. This story has not got a lot of play yet. This story should get a lot of play. The incoming commissioner of the PGA yesterday appointed Tiger Woods as the chairman of what's called the Futures Committee. Tiger Woods and 8 other golfers and some businessmen will chart the future of what the tour should be. They want to evaluate the tradition of the PGA Tour, the courses, the events, the Grand Slams, etc. They're also going to evaluate rules, playing conditions, and membership. And membership is really important. And the bottom line is they're going to give Tiger Woods a clean piece of paper and say, you and your committee, the Futures Committee, you tell us what you think the PGA should be. Because the money has gone up for everybody. They've developed their next group of stars because so many guys defected and went across the street to LIV. And missing from the conversation about what Tiger is going to do, no conversation about the LIV. The report is the LIV weeks ago made another offer to the PGA, or we'll give you the public investment fund money, but we want you to allow us to continue to operate our tour in Europe the way we want to operate it. Team competition, not medal play, etc. PGA turned them down. So I think it's a sense to me we're farther away from a merger to bring the Dustin Johnsons and the John Rahms and the Phil Mickelsons back. We're farther away than we were before because initially it seemed like, okay, they've come to an agreement on how they're going to operate under the PGA banner and who's going to run what tournaments, etc. And the only thing that had to be negotiated would be how we let these guys back. Do they pay a penalty to come back? Do they have to pay money to re-enter because they left on such bad terms because they violated their tour card when they took the money and ran? That was the one thing we thought was holding us up. Now it's this. The LIV wants to continue to operate as a separate tournament entity in Europe while still being a member of the PGA. And the PGA says no. So Tiger's been given his marching orders with a clean piece of paper. Consider what changes we could make to make this tour with our players a better event. And I think this is all driven towards the next TV media contract and how they can grow the sport with this next wave of stars if we have to go without those guys who went across the pond to LIV and took the blood money. That's controversial, but that's where we are. NASCAR. We've talked about this. I'll admit, I'm a redneck in a closet. I watch a lot of NASCAR. I know the storylines. This lawsuit over charters, this has gone back and forth, back and forth. You have to have a charter to run NASCAR. Michael Jordan's 23X team and Front Row Racing sued NASCAR. They said this is a monopoly. This is an antitrust violation. They're forcing all these rules down our throat, and we can't make enough money because they're taking all the money in on corporate sponsorships. If you get a charter, you get a chunk of revenue share from sponsorships through NASCAR. All these other teams have signed those charters. Michael Jordan sued, said antitrust violation. Judges have changed their mind. Judges ordered NASCAR, let these guys compete. Another judge said you have to give them charter rights, which meant you're sharing money. Third judge came back and said they never paid for the charter. They don't have a right to have a charter to race. They can race as open entries. And now NASCAR this week filed another suit against Michael Jordan and Front Row Racing, saying the last judge ruled you don't have a right to have this charter. We want all the revenue sharing money we gave you in sponsorship. We want that returned by October 1st.
Whoa.
So in other words, these guys now are at risk of losing all the revenue share. They get their prize money. If they win a race, they get their prize money, like an independent contractor. But now NASCAR says the judges, through 3 sets of levels of layers of decisions, have now ruled you're not entitled to the monster amount of corporate sponsor revenue sharing money that we give to everybody who has a charter. You don't have a charter. You're an independent. Give that money back.
Well, they've already spent it.
They got to come up with it. So this story, never ending. Last story involves the flag of Mexico. This is a disgrace. The deportation and the imprisonment of champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. His father was an icon boxer, just phenomenal, maybe the greatest boxer of all time out of Mexico. His son is a sleazebag. He might be a good boxer. He may have won 2 different titles in 2 different weight classes. But the U.S. government, the Mexican government, have cited him for being a guy intricately involved with the drug cartels, dealing drugs across the border here in the States, and running guns. He was deported this week, flown. He's in a prison in Hermosillo, Mexico right now. Just an utter awful story. But when you make choices like that, there can be bad consequences, and Julio Cesar Chavez is in prison in Hermosillo.
Wow.
Amazing. Like I said, there's so many stories breaking this week. It's just crazy. Go ahead, John. Talk about the PGA Tour. Talk about the LIV. You can admit to being a redneck with me. We'll sit at the bar and tip a cold one and watch the next NASCAR race. Go ahead.
Okay, so I need a little bit of clarification here. So this is the Tour Championship that we're talking about
This
here.
is the $10 million finale to the FedEx playoffs. Yes.
Okay, so remember there was always the Players Championship and there was the PGA Championship. Are those 3 separate events?
Yes, those are events. But this is the true big money championship.
So is this new?
No, this has been there for a couple of years. They've changed the structure of it. But it's only 30 golfers. It's the top 30 guys who qualified. You play all year. If you win a tournament, you get in. If you're a top money winner, you still get in. But there's only 30 guys, not 156.
Now, the PGA Championship and the Players Championship, those are separate?
Separate tournaments.
So which one of those is sort of like the unofficial 5th Grand Slam?
The PGA Championships.
That's the one. Okay.
But a lot of people don't view it as that because it doesn't have history and legacy. It's not played at the same course. It moves all over the place. That's one of the things that Tiger Woods and the committee, the Futures Committee, might examine. Might we name more permanent Grand Slams at fixed locations, or would we just do away with the Grand Slam recognition?
Interesting. I like having certain courses that, are, it's like going to a church, like
That's
going
right.
to Augusta or something like that. And there's a number of other courses around America they could do that. So, good on Tiger Woods. Hopefully he can figure it out. He seems like the right guy for the job.
Sure.
He's not going to get distracted by all the things he's been distracted with the last 10 or so years.
Well, he's hardly played. I mean, his career is over by virtue of every type of surgery he has had. And this is the next thing. Next thing I'm expecting, I expect him on TV. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
So what do you think about the LIV mess?
Well, that was my other question to you, was because we've talked about a lot of different merger scenarios, going back a few years. And one of them was that Live Golf would actually run the European tournament or the European circuit or whatever you want to call it.
Marketing and all that. But it would be under the PGA banner, which means you'd play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You would not play 54 holes and this team concept. No one gives a crap about team golf. And the LIV wants to continue to play LIV golf under the PGA banner, and PGA turned down their last proposal, said no.
I kind of get the idea of why they want to have team golf, because all the other sports have teams, and every team has a brand.
But
and
you got the Ryder Cup, and you got the President's Cup. That is team golf.
That's national team stuff, but I don't disagree with the idea of having team golf in the PGA. It's just, right now it just seems like they're just throwing certain guys together, or I don't know how they've configured those teams. That to me is a little bit of a mystery. I don't know. I'm not so worried about it. If the tournament circuit in Europe is a different configuration, it's fine. I just don't know how you normalize the point system so that when you have to qualify for one of the majors, who gets in.
Well, the guys in LIV don't qualify because they're not members of the PGA Tour.
Yeah. That's something for Woods to fix for sure.
But they told him, you're not going to be involved with LIV. You deal with the PGA Tour and our stars and the future stars.
That's
that we're
the
building.
reality that exists now.
Yeah. I mean, the divide to me is farther now than it's probably ever been in 3 years.
But you still have some of those live golf guys that want to come back, right? Was it Brooks Koepka? Wasn't he the one?
They were dropping hints, but there's no way for them to come back because they violated their tour card. And they're not letting them back in free of charge without a sanction, a penalty, a whatever.
Well, they got to win the $10 million this weekend so you have money to get back in.
Okay, those are topics on the table. I warned you at the front end of this. We do sports talk the way it should be done. Now it's your turn. If this